Alyssa Olson, and I'm a member at Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Faribault. I can't help but get a little bit choked up because my mom plays a big part in my story, and she got to go to heaven 3 years ago. So the things that I know about my own baptism is that I was only a week old when I was baptized. And a lot of people, when they hear that, they think, oh my goodness, did you almost die? And no, I didn't. But my mom and dad they loved their pastor so much, and it was his last week at our church, and my 2 older brothers had been baptized by him. So they wanted to make sure that I was baptized by Pastor McGowan as well. And Pastor McGowan has shown up in my parents' lives, decades later, and I know who he is and I know where he lives, and so that's kind of awesome. And then I also just love how my mom held up our baptism birth date in our lives as we grew up, and she would make a Jell-O no-bake cheesecake on our baptismal birth date, just to signify it. And so for me, there's just a lot of symbolism. So with my own kids, when they got baptized, we will celebrate their baptisms too. I gotta say, I probably wasn't as good about remembering it as my mom was. But just like Luther said, the church is really the small church and what happens in the family. And my mom made sure we let our light shine.
Hi, this is Marianne Reuter from Brownsdale, Minnesota. And I'm telling you about my baptism, even though I don't remember it. I was baptized in Grace Lutheran Church in Austin, Minnesota. And when we arrived out in the country, they needed a church, so they went to St. Michael's Lutheran Church of Waltham, is the mother church to my baptismal spot in Grace, which is where I was baptized, and that's the sister church. So that's just my fun fact.
Hi, my name is Beth Cato. It's very easy for me to remember my baptism because it was only about 2 years ago, July 14th of 2024, at St. Paul's in Red Wing. And I chose to be baptized as an adult, and I think it was something I'd wanted for many, many years, and the time was right. When I was a child, I went to a small Church of Christ in Armona, California, and my grandpa was my pastor. And he was diagnosed with a terminal illness when I was 4, and he died when I was 11. And I always wanted him to be the one who baptized me, and I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because part of me I knew he was going to die soon. And I kind of wanted, it's like if I was baptized, I know it would have pleased him and satisfied him. And I thought almost like, if I hold off on baptizing, he's going to live longer. It's the logic of children and emotions, right? And he died. And after that, my teen years were tumultuous. And I didn't attend church as regularly as I should have. And then as an adult, life happens. Moved around the country. My husband was in the Navy, had a special needs child. It just kept getting put off. But I wanted to go to church again, and I wanted to be baptized. And when we moved to Red Wing, I found a place at St. Paul's and met Pastor Amy. And soon after meeting her, I said, I want to finally be baptized. It's time. And it happened, and I'm very grateful for that.